Before I even talk about the video in particular, is anybody else getting annoyed with the fact that when you start a YouTube video, it defaults frequently to 480p? And not only that, it does it default to 480p, instead of being able to just tap, resolution and change it to whatever, like you used to be able to, you have to, you know, tap whatever. In fact, and then you go to quality. And of course, I've already changed it to 1080p, but then you have to go to advanced, and then you're able to select the resolution. There's an extra tap or two in there that wasn't always there, and it just seems completely unnecessary. I don't know what Google was doing, why they think, oh, advanced is changing the resolution is an advanced task, but for some reason they did it, and it is beyond annoying. Here, JSL review. I've seen quite a few of his videos. This is, I think, the first one that I'm speaking over in this capacity. 10 subtle reasons why everyone loves the iPhone. I have not seen this one yet, so as always, I will interject my thoughts and opinions on what his thoughts and opinions are of the iPhone. I'll probably agree with some of them, and I'll probably disagree with others. So, without me talking too much before it begins, let's get into it.
This video is sponsored by Keeper. What is going on, everyone? My name is Jason, and these are the 10 reasons why everyone loves the iPhone. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you love the iPhone? No, I mean like love the iPhone.
No, I don't. Like, and I should probably just stop the video right, but I don't. I hate it. I hate the iPhone, but I use it for one reason: iMessage. That is it. I will boast and brag on Apple for them being able to support their devices for as long as they do, and I know that's a good thing. But I get a new phone almost every year anyway. Not that I'm buying stuff full price. No, I get stuff on eBay and then I'll buy one and sell, last year. So I am that guy who's constantly upgrading, but not paying brand new device prices and at least getting something back for devices once I sell them. But no, I hate the iPhone because of one, it has a lightning port. Okay. Two, when I'm looking at it right now, I just unlocked it. Yeah, Face ID is good. It's cool. But the app library is there. I do not like that. Because and it's not Apple's fault, but it took a long time for picture. Well, no, it is Apple's fault. It took a long time for picture in picture to be a thing on the iPhone. I don't like now that they're not going to make an iPhone 14 mini. Um, I'm sure I could think of other things, but yeah, no, I hate the iPhone. iMessage is the only reason I use it. If Apple chose to adopt RCS, then I would probably never buy another iPhone because the texting experience between Android devices and iPhones would be almost as good as it is between iOS devices. I know Apple would put some type of limitation on it in true Apple fashion, but to answer his question, no, I hate the iPhone.
Well, if you do have an unhealthy love addiction to your iPhone, honestly, you're not alone, as many people do. And even though there's a lot of reasons to why, hear me out on why I think this is the case. Apple is the king of minor details. I'm a firm believer that phones, especially today, are more common than ever before. So all the big features like build quality, cameras, OLED displays, none of them are unique to Apple. And even things like iMessage and AirDrop, no doubt these features are awesome and are signature reasons to go with an iPhone, but that's not what I'm talking about here. No, at the end of the day, to me, what makes the iPhone so sticky really comes down to the subtle, little everyday features that most of the time you don't even notice, and honestly, a lot of us take for granted. So today, I'm gonna go over 10 super subtle reasons why people love the iPhone. But before
And I mean, even though he glanced over iMessage and said that's not a reason people love it, even if that's not a reason people love the iPhone, that is a major reason why a lot of people stay with the iPhone. Right? Whether or not they're like, oh, it's amazing. No, that's one reason a lot of people stay with the iPhone. iMessage lock-in is real.
I get into the list, if you're an Apple fanboy like me, let me know in the comments what your favorite low-key feature is. And if you're an Apple hater and all about the Android nation, let me know what it is about the iPhone that makes you despise it so badly. Okay, but let's jump right into subtle feature number one, and that's the iPhone's built-in scanner. Now, you might be scrolling through your phone right now saying that I don't see a scanner here, and that's actually because it's not a standalone app. It's actually a baked-in feature of the iPhone's Notes application, When you click to create a new note and you press on this camera icon here, you'll get a list of different options, one of them being scan documents. It then fires up your camera and all you have to do is hover over whatever document you're trying to scan, your phone IDs it and automatically snaps an image. You can scan multiple pages and adjust the framing to clean it up as needed. And once you're done, you can save, email, or text the scanned document to whoever as a PDF. This is super handy when you're in a rush and don't have a printer nearby, and the quality that you can get from your iPhone is pretty superb. Now sticking with the Notes app for just a second, another low-key feature that's crazy useful is the scan text option. Just take your camera and get whatever text you're looking to grab into the frame, wait a second or two, and your iPhone will automatically digitize the text onto your note, and it does it almost instantaneously. You could also do this live text feature on the regular camera app as well, and you could even go into your Photos app and click into any old photo that has visible text in it and lift it from there as well. Now,
And I had a Google Pixel, and I literally just sold it a few days ago. In fact, I put it in the mail yesterday, and I was trying to scramble to see if these features exist in the Google Photos app. But a lot of what he's describing, I think, is available in Google Lens. So for him to praise the iPhone for a software level feature, I mean, hey, I get it. It's part of iOS, and if it's in the Photos app or if it's baked natively into the Apple Camera app, great. But definitely that lifting of text stuff I've done on an Android device from a photo. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just describing Apple's version of Google Lens.
you will need a relatively newer iPhone 10 or higher that's running iOS 15 or up in order to take advantage of this feature. But man, this capability is so useful if you're taking notes in class or something. And it's pretty incredible how quickly and accurately the iPhone is able to do this. Now, before we get into
And I mean, yeah, taking scans of photos and being able to pull the text off of photos is a great idea, a great concept. It's, I'm sure it's implemented just fine. I know I've pulled text off of photos with my iPhone. But sometimes when we draw these comparisons I mean, his example was taking notes in class. It's like, well, yeah, that is cool. Like sometimes you'll take a snapshot of what's on the board. But sometimes it's like, well, are we writing a lot of notes? Are we typing more notes? I mean, I think Google's ability to, well, I don't think he said it, live transcribe, so you can record what people are saying, and then it will also produce a text document or a text output of what's being said, and it's pretty accurate on the Pixel. I'm not going to vouch for all Android devices, but he's made a good point so far. I think we're only on number one, so we got 8 more minutes left. I'm already almost 8 minutes left into this audio recording, so I'll try to keep my comments more succinct and to the point.
to the next subtle detail on why the iPhone is so loved, I want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, Keeper. Keeper is one of the most popular and trusted security and encryption platforms that provides an extremely important and useful service, and that's managing all your passwords. Considering how much of our day-to-day lives now is done via the internet, it's led to an inordinate amount of usernames and passwords that we have to keep track of. And dude, given the ease in which this sensitive data could be stolen from you, requirements around passwords have gotten so stringent, they're almost impossible to remember on your own. Keeper's Password Manager stores all of your passwords in a secure digital web vault that you can easily access from any device running any operating system. It uses something called a zero-knowledge security.
But so even with the ad spot, well, normally I just run these through and don't say much, but what he's just describing is an app that runs almost universally, which is great. But I can imagine almost everything he's going to describe about the iPhone are things that run specifically on the iPhone. So I'm happy that this Keeper app works on, I'm assuming he's going to Android, iOS, iPad OS, maybe Windows, Linux, maybe Mac OS. Like that's the beauty of applications that are universal. But then, yeah, when we're praising a device that is so set on the lack of interoperability that it's like, well, I can't do both. I can't praise this company for being universal. I mean, I know they're paying him to talk right now, but the video's about a product that is the exact opposite of that, and it's good because it forces you to be so locked into their ecosystem. So normally, yeah, I don't jump in on these sponsor slots, but kudos for Keeps or to Keeps or Keeper or whatever it is for working across various platforms.
security model, which ensures that even Keeper themselves have no way of accessing the passwords you store, as each one is personally encrypted, so your information is extremely protected against something like a data breach. Once you get your passwords into the vault, it autofills your login credentials on all of your corresponding website and apps. You can view and edit your info in the vault anytime on your desktop or mobile device, and it's an extremely easy to use service. It's no wonder why Keeper has won numerous awards and has been lauded as one of the best password managers by multiple tech publications. And if you're interested in learning firsthand just how impactful using this service could be, now's the time to do it, because Keeper is hooking you guys up with 30% off their Keeper Unlimited and Keeper Family plans. Just make sure to use the link in the description and this awesome discount will automatically be applied. Start simplifying the way you manage your passwords. Check out Keeper today. Okay, the third feature has got to be one of my favorites, and it's super straightforward. But you know when you're logging into something that has two-factor authentication built into it, where they actually text you a code every time you log in? If you're doing it on an iPhone, when the code comes in via text and you click on the box to enter it, the iPhone gives you the option to paste the code directly by just clicking here. It sounds like it's not a big deal because
Is that unique to the iPhone? I feel like I should take the time to log into something right here. I can't think of anything to log into right now. I don't know if that's unique to the iPhone. If it is, great. If not, no. I mean, I have benefited from that myself, so I do know that. I hope that didn't pop up. But yeah.
that's really it. But dude, it's so convenient because everything these days requires two-factor authentication, and it's straight painful trying to go back and forth between the site or the app that you're trying to get into and a text message with the long code in it. Now, speaking of security, the fourth subtle feature I want to talk about is Face ID. And if you're saying to yourself, how is Face ID a subtle feature? It's a major component of the phone. I totally get where you're coming from, but hear me out for a second. Face ID is no doubt one of the major components of the newer iPhones, and to me, hands down, the most sophisticated biometric security system on any mobile device. But the reason I have it on this list has more to do with the fact that you almost never realize that this thing is even here. Like, you set it up, which is extremely easy by the way, and from there you just tap on the screen, it authenticates almost instantly, and you swipe up to open your phone and it's business as usual. And at first, there is some intentionality that goes into the process because you think it requires your attention. But dude, after a short while, Face ID is so unobtrusive to your user experience, you legit forget that it's there. Like, how many times have you picked up someone else's iPhone and instinctually just swiped up, only then being reminded that it's not your phone? It's definitely a feature that a lot of people take for granted and don't appreciate until it's gone, which to me is a telltale sign that it's masterfully integrated into the operating system.
Again, my opinion on it is, yes, it is good. It really is. It adds to the convenience. Oh, honestly, it depends. Yeah, it definitely depends. So, like, I pick up my iPhone, I tap it to wake the screen up, it's unlocked, boom, I swipe up. But honestly, that's no different for me now picking up my Sony right here and just placing my thumb on the fingerprint reader, which my hand is on the phone anyway. So to unlock it using my fingerprint is instinctive as well. And for years we had to unlock the iPhone with a fingerprint. The Pixel 4 had Face Unlock, and I unfortunately Google did away with it. When I pick up this Samsung right here, the fingerprint reader is under the screen. So yeah, instinctively I just kind of pick it up. Also, if I want to keep the phone flat on the surface, which, it's a very specific use case that I'm not actually picking up the phone to use it, but sometimes it is nice just to be able to tap the phone and the biometrics that I'm using are a finger and the phone can stay put. Whereas with the iPhone, I tapped it, I just flipped it over. I want to unlock it, but because I also don't want to pick up the phone, which again, I know doesn't happen often, but it does sometimes. Oh, I got to pick it up. Now it's unlocked and then I can place it back down. So yes, Face ID is definitely a good feature. But just, I'm a fan of biometrics in general. So as long as the fingerprint reader is someplace that makes sense, or Face Unlock is what it is, then I'm a fan of both.
Okay, the next subtle feature that I want to talk about is honestly one that a lot of people don't know about. Many iPhones have a secret button on the back of the phone that could be used for a variety of different functions, and this thing is called Back Tap. All you have to do is go to your settings, click on accessibility, select the touch option, and if you scroll all the way down, you'll see an option for Back Tap. And from there, you can assign what a double tap and a triple tap on the back of the phone will initiate. And you can see there's a lot you can map these functions to. Personally, I have double tap set to launch Control Center, which is impossible for me to reach one-handed on my 13 Pro Max. And I have my triple tap set to take a screenshot. Again, super useful because it's impossible for me to do that one-handed when I'm on the move. Now, it does take some getting used to, mainly because you forget that this thing exists. But once you've used it a few times, back tap really does become a useful and convenient feature. Now, while we're on the subject of custom buttons, probably one of the most robust features that the iPhone has that almost no one uses is shortcuts. Shortcuts allows you to create custom buttons on your home screen that you can map to perform a particular function, much like backtap. Like, you can see that I have this custom shortcut that once I press
And honestly, I have not used backtap, but I just went to the settings right now to turn it on. So I'll give it a try. See if it's any good.
it automatically launches Google Maps and starts taking me to my home address, which is pretty cool. I also have this cool one where it allows you to scan barcodes with your camera, and the iPhone automatically searches for the item on Amazon. Great if you're a value shopper like I am. And look, shortcuts are awesome, but I kind of get why a lot of people don't use them. They're not the easiest things to set up, and will take some intentionality to get them to work right. But dude, once you get into it, it can significantly change your user experience. And trust me when I say that shortcuts can really take your love of the iPhone to the next level. Okay, I've completely lost what number we're on, but the next feature that I want to talk about is another one that I feel a lot of people take for granted, and that's the iPhone's Haptic Engine. If you've been on an iPhone for a long time, I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't paid much attention at all to the iPhone's haptic feedback. It's just kind of in the background as you navigate around the phone. But dude, it's almost jarring how immediate the difference is when...
All right. So of all the things that he mentioned so far, I will say, I too was not a believer of how important the haptic engine is in the iPhone. I made fun of Apple for how much money and time and R&D they put into develop their haptic engine compared to just the traditional vibrating motor that, used to be in all phones. But since I've had a modern iPhone and I've still used some Android devices that have poor haptics, it's a noticeable difference that yes, I can no longer take for granted and don't, because the haptics in the iPhone are good. The haptics in this Galaxy that I'm recording on are good. I don't like the haptics in the Sony Xperia. I mean, some people might say it's good. I don't particularly care for it. That Pixel 4a that I just sold, I hated the haptics in that, so much so that I started wearing a Fitbit, not because I hated the haptics, but I just coincidentally started wearing a Fitbit, and I turned the vibration motor off on the Pixel 4a when I was using it as my main device, and just relied on my watch now vibrating when somebody called or texted, because the haptics on the Pixel 4a for me were just so bad. So yeah, I agree. Haptics are important, and Apple has done something right with the haptics in the iPhone and the haptics in the Apple Watch.
You're using a phone that doesn't have Apple's haptic motor in it. The iPhone has by far the widest range of haptic feedback, giving you a unique feeling with a varying degree of vibration for virtually every different type of notification out there. It's also extremely precise when navigating around certain parts of the UI. I mean, just scroll through the times when setting an alarm and you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's so much more intentional and engaging in this small way, and when you compare it to most of the competition, you quickly realize that it does make a major difference. And kind of related, but not really, one of my favorite random features about the iPhone is being able to move around the cursor by holding down the spacebar on the keyboard. When you need to correct something, it can be a pain trying to...
Pretty sure you can do that on Android, but let me check.
Use your finger to get the cursor to a precise area of the text. So I love that you can just hold down the spacebar and move the cursor around with your thumb. It's way easier and faster to make corrections, and it works really well. Okay, the ninth subtle feature about the iPhone that honestly most of you...
Yeah, you can do it on Android. In fact, I think you've been able to do it for a while with Android. And I don't want to say somebody randomly found out you could do it on the iPhone, but yeah, you can. Now, I will say, I think the difference with the iPhone is, so on my Xperia right now, I'm pressing and holding the space bar, and I'm moving around. But I think on the iPhone, it looks like it turns the whole keypad into something that you can then move around so the cursor can go to different levels. Yeah, if need be. So yeah, it is a nice feature. Software does make a difference.
probably don't even know exist is something called optimized battery charging. If you're habitual, plug your iPhone to charge every.
All right. So before he even continues, I'm going to stop him right there. I'm going to stop him right there because that's a relatively new feature. What's good on the iPhone for having it. But I was watching one of Marquez Brownlee's videos, and he praised Apple and I think even Google's Pixel 6 for having it, which the Pixel's been doing it for a little while. But my Sony Xperia X Compact, which I believe was released either in 2016 or 2015, had battery care back then. Okay, so Sony, in my opinion, has been killing it in terms of what they bring to the market. I know a lot of people aren't buying their phones, but this right here, yes, it's a good feature. I'm not going to take away from it. There's only so many new innovative things you can do that your competition hasn't already done. But what I have noticed with all, YouTubers, reviewers, whatever, is for those super popular devices, they'll mention good features, but they don't always give homage to those who did it first. And I don't even know if Sony's did it first, but they've been doing it for a while. And yeah, the iPhone does copy a lot when it does a lot of things. So we'll see what else he's going to say about it. But I almost take it personal. I know I shouldn't. I don't have any stock or really investments in Sony at all. But it's nice when you have something new and you're like, hey man, this is a good feature, a good whatever, for in whatever field. I know we're talking about smartphones right now, but I know that I've been using that in my Sony phones for going on 7 years now, I guess. Six, between 6 and 7 years. And yeah, when Apple's finally like, yeah, maybe we'll do it. And Google too was like, maybe we'll do it. And Google's been doing it for a little while. But this Sony has been killing it in terms of what they bring. I wish more people bought their devices, but no, it's nice. And I'm stumbling over words and getting a little riled up, but this is something that is not unique to the iPhone.
Every night type of person like I am. Doing so can actually wreak havoc on your phone's battery health.
Plus also, and we'll see if he says anything. So I'll say it before he says it. What's nice, at least on the Android level, and even with this Galaxy that I'm using right now, you can set it so that, okay, I want it to charge to 100%, but like the phones can learn your charging patterns, so that way it tries to only top off the phone when you're about to wake up, like in the morning. So it recognizes, hey, around, between 10 and 11 p.m., you're going to put your phone on the charger. Okay, between, 5:30 and 6 a.m., you wake up. So let's charge it quickly for the first, well, I think actually charge it a little slowly, and then maybe charge it a little quicker as it reaches the time that you're going to wake up. Also, I learned this. I didn't always know it, and I learned it from one of Marquez Brownlee's videos, is that your phones, or a battery in general, doesn't like staying at 100%. Doesn't like staying at 0 either, but it likes being somewhere that's not fully charged all the time. So leaving your phone on the charger at 100% is bad for it. So with the Sony Xperia 5 that I have, and the Samsung Galaxy S22, you can go into the settings and say, hey, yes, use your adaptive battery type magic, but don't charge the phone to 100%. I like that I have the ability to say, well, I know I don't routinely need 100% charge. Like I'm not, strapped for a charger throughout the day. So with the Samsung, I believe I have it set to stop at 85%. With the Xperia, I think I have it to stop at 90%. And when I unplug it, it stays there. And of course it drains throughout the day. But even if I leave it plugged up, it says like charging paused, and it just stays at that percent. So I'm sure it uses power as it needs to and maybe tops back off to 80%, or maybe it even bypasses the battery since it's still charged, still connected. And now it's just batteries flowing through, power's flowing through that way. I do know that is a feature on the Sony phone for gaming that you can say, hey, I'm going to plug this phone up while I'm gaming. Don't use the battery. Don't worry about charging the battery. Just use the power that's coming in from the outlet into the port to power the device. So that way the battery doesn't get charged, the phone doesn't get hot, blah, 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 blah. So I'll see what else he has to say. But not only is Apple late to the game, but I feel like in true Apple fashion, they don't give you the option to make any changes to what they want it to be. And it's just, it's whatever Apple does with it in the background.
All batteries degrade over time, but keeping your phone plugged in for extended charging sessions will definitely make it worse. So if you're on iOS 13 or newer and you plug your iPhone in at night, It charges up but actually stops at around 80%. It then uses machine learning to better understand your charging habits and will top off the rest of the 20% so it aligns with the time that you usually disconnect your phone from the charging cable.
Yeah, and that's what I expect. Apple is doing their magic, which machine learning, yes, cool. And yeah, Sony was doing that too. But I think they also too realized, hey, in addition to that, which we could do, we can also just not charge it to 100% if you don't need it, which is probably even better for the battery. Yeah.
This is a really smart feature that helps increase the longevity of your iPhone, and you probably didn't even know that it was there. Okay, the last little feature is the one that you guys actually brought up the most when I asked on my community tab and on my Twitter, and that's the fact that iOS is just generally really smooth. As controlled as this walled garden may be, there's no denying that Apple's user interface is silky smooth, and importantly, it stays that way even years later. Apple is truly a master when it comes to memory management, and iOS is no doubt the most refined operating system in the smartphone market today. And
I mean, that's a subjective statement. Like, yes, it
it's
is smooth.
understandable why people find it so pleasing and reliable.
It is smooth, but I also think Android is mature and very smooth as well. I'm flowing through the user interface effortlessly right now, and I have zero complaints. So yeah, it's a subjective statement. It's not wrong at all. It's subjective, but personally, I enjoy the interface of Android way more than iOS. Him saying that it remains fluid over time is also true, but I think Android 2 has matured to the point where even some older devices running Android still run not as well as it did when the phone was first released, but definitely a little better. I do have an iPhone 6 over there that I turn on periodically, and I will say, yeah, it's okay, but it has hiccups, as it should, because it's old. It's no longer supported, so it's a subjective statement, like any opinion. So I can't get upset or mad with them, but yeah, it's definitely a subjective statement.
So those are the 10 super subtle reasons why the iPhone is so loved across the world. Let me know in the comments which ones you agreed with the most. And if you're team Android all day, every day, do me a favor and comment below on what you think Google does better than Apple. I'm super curious to know.
I would just say right there, just looking from the screen, my opinion, notifications. It's nice that, Google 2 and iOS have the little notification numbers next to the app. That's cool. But having the notifications up there at the top of the screen for me is better, because then I can see, hey, I need to do this, I need to do that. You can swipe down and see exactly what it is. It's more intuitive than having to swipe down on a portion of the screen and then like right now I just swipe down and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notifications. One I didn't even know was there, but I have it's not intuitive. It's out of the way, which I guess is good for some people. But for notifications, I kind of want them in the way, so I pay attention to them, and I might dismiss them or whatever. But having them right up there at the top for me is a better way of managing this process.
And let's try and keep it civil down there. Okay, that's about it for this review. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you guys found it useful. Again, I'd really appreciate it. Check out these other reviews if you're looking for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
And Marquez Brownlee and the dude from Mr. Who's the Boss, I think his name is Aaron, they did a which is better, Android or iOS video, which I'll comment over. Their video was 20 minutes long, so my video is probably going to be like an hour. I think it's at 20 top, like they're comparing like 20 different things or something. So yeah, it's in 2022, it's purely subjective. I mean, definitely that's a clickbaity title. I clicked it. I haven't even finished watching it yet, and I'll probably do this while I'm watching it, as opposed to watching it all the way through first and then coming back to it. But yeah, it's subjective. Not one is not better than the other. They both have their pros and cons. So users like what they like. Everything that he said in this video, yeah, definitely some strong opinions, some valid ones. Hey, I would never discredit anybody's opinion on anything. Some I agree with, some I disagree with. But all in all, I personally use both at the same time. My main SIM card is in my iPhone, but I do hate it. I only use it for iMessage. But in terms of me doing literally anything else, recording this video, watching movies, reading, listening to music at the gym, I use Android for all of those. iMessage is the one reason I keep the iPhone around.